Day.
So both of our phones here, because we always have our phones up with the feed.
So we can see your comments and let you chime in.
Both of them told us that the other person's watching.
So we got really excited that at least one person was watching.
Yeah, so we're excited for you guys tuning in with us. It's just the two of us tonight. We like to do this every once in a while just to kind of talk about some things closer to our heart. Get a little more up close and personal.
The camera is a little closer than I like, so
I'll get closer. Hi,
camera. Goodness.
We were just talking about my photo taking skills before this.
I was talking about my greasy forehead, so.
Yeah. So, like, I hate when there's a picture of me that I wasn't part of planning, but, like, if I know it's coming, got it.
She's got it. She's, like, staged in that.
Yeah, I got the skinny arm nailed down. So, anyway, tonight we are talking about
dreams.
All
about dreams.
Yeah.
And this is a segue. If you have not gone back and kind of watched, so we had a pretty hard discussion about, miscarriages and stuff like that. Then we last week went into the merge, more of entrepreneurship and what happens, when things don't go as you plan and what that can look like in the legal sense and the actual plan. But tonight we're going to talk about what it looks like in here. Like when you have this dream or you have this plan and it doesn't go as you plan.
Yeah.
And what we did, and hopefully, you will feel comfortable enough to share or take away from something from us that will help you.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about things like these dreams could be personal dreams. They could be professional dreams. They could be small, medium, large, anything that you hope for and you wish for. Any really just grand disappointment in your life.
And we all have them. Everyone has disappointments all the way to like heartbreaking dreams. And so this is we're going to touch base on several of them.
Yeah. So we all know that social media right now, I think, in our culture is saturated with the topic of chasing your dreams.
Yeah, especially for women, I feel.
Yeah.
I think that it's across the board, but women are really getting pushed with the whole new feminist thing and everything else. It's not really new, but the big uproar of it, chase your dreams and don't stop until you get there. Don't take no for an answer. Keep going and don't stop.
Yeah. And honestly, like, for the most part, we would probably agree with a lot of those things.
100%.
We've probably had posts and podcasts already where we've talked about how you should chase your dreams and, like, you're capable of so much more than you think you are.
Yeah.
And that it's okay to have those dreams. It's okay to chase them. And it's okay to want more for yourself. So we definitely agree with that.
Yeah. And I think I definitely agree with that. But I also think that, again, the topics that people aren't really talking about is it's okay to mourn when they don't turn out how they're supposed to. It's okay to, like, not know what to do with the pieces or sit and be sad for a little bit when, your fight and your plan doesn't go.
Yeah, I think that almost that this idea of if you chase your dream hard enough, it'll eventually come true. It's a little bit dangerous.
It is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous of an idea because sometimes dreams just can't come true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my kids can't, like, become Minecraft and, like, live as Minecraft people.
But they really believe. We had talked on the Disney show, we had talked about these young girls, like, them feeling like they're going to be princesses one day. They really, reality, could be.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe England, something happens over there and they become a princess.
Yeah.
Or a princess at Disney, but we want them to dream. We want to instill that very young.
Which one thing? I'll go here now. I was like, we can go here later, but I think I'll go here now.
I don't think this is planned.
No. But, like, thinking about that, if we're thinking about a little girl and her dream is to be Cinderella, and she can't actually be Cinderella, I think a lot of times our dreams aren't necessarily the tangible goal we're trying to reach, but more so like the heart and what's in it. Like, what does that little girl want? She might want to dance on stage. She might want to marry a handsome man. She might want to go to a big fancy ball.
So her dream may not be as clear. We may see her dream as something different. She may not even know exactly what that dream means.
Yeah. And I think even our own dreams, We might be chasing a particular goal, and then that goal changes, but the root of what we were trying to grow is still the same.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So yeah, this idea of sometimes dreams don't come true. We love when you guys are commenting. For those that are watching it live on Facebook while we record this, if we would love to hear your thoughts, even message us after and get involved in the conversation. But do you think that sometimes, no matter how hard you work or how much gusto you put into something, a dream might just not happen?
Yes. Yeah.
So why? Like, why can't you just, like, what are the things that just sometimes get in the way?
Something like I just really have been like really focusing on. Sometimes we have this dream that requires other people to be in it, other people to participate in it, and all that, and you can't control what someone else does. You can put in as much work, as much effort, you can put in your all. You can keep chasing and do what all of those social media posts are saying, but you are 100% responsible for your actions. You can't control their actions.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
And that can be the crash of your dream.
Yeah. And I think, I think most of tonight, Danielle is going to kind of be talking from like the personal angle, and I'll be talking a little bit from the professional angle, just because of what our lives have gone through in the past year. That's just where we're at right now. Not that either of us haven't experienced crash dreams on the personal, the opposite way. Because I think in our post earlier tonight, I was like, we've experienced 1, 10, 100 crash dreams, right?
There's going to be a lot of dreams, but I feel like, kind of to tell where my personal story, if you don't, like I was that little girl who grew up and all I ever wanted was to be a wife. So most little girls want to grow up and be a mommy. I love being a mommy. I love my kids. I wanted to be a wife, like so bad. I wanted to, and this isn't how I mean it, but this is the words coming. I wanted to be someone's other half. I wanted them to rely on me as much as I relied on them. Like
a partnership.
I wanted that partnership. I wanted to feel that belonging. I wanted to like cook the dinner, clean the house. Like that's what I dreamed of as a little girl. And then, with business and I have to tell you, like I had some great dreams of work and businesses, and I succeeded in quite a bit of them. And so I should have been happy, but I was like, I still want this. And so when I got married, we got married. We literally like bought a house. I actually bought my parents' house, and we demolished pretty much the whole house. I mean, everything. And we picked out everything together, and we then lived in this beautiful house. And I was top in a company that everybody told me there was no way I could get there. I had this great company and this great career, and my children were healthy, and I was healthy, and he was healthy. But there was still lacking there. And then as the years went, like, you can chase and you can fight all these other things, but you can't control them. So then when my marriage ended, I literally felt that none of that mattered. So many people would be like, your kids are still so healthy. Your house is beautiful. Your career. None of that mattered to me, because the one thing, the root, when we talked about the dream, the root, my root was what I just lost. And so, just figuring out where to go there, finding myself, finding those is kind of where I'll be talking from, of just, I think that a lot of people, when they say dreams, they do focus more on career. They focus on buying that lake house. Mine was just simply to be a wife and be that other half.
That's like so sweet, and it sounds so simple, but it's not easy. I mean, if you look around in our culture, and it's surely not easy, and it's not very common, and so that is a dream, and that's why I love like having this conversation. It's about more than professions and side hustles, and the tangible things you accomplish. It's also about those relationships that you grow.
And it looks at social media and other people looking in. Someone may look like they have it all. They may look like they have it all together, even as an individual. But if they aren't, if they can still be very unhappy and not be getting their whole isn't there. They're complete of what they're chasing.
Right.
It's not.
which kind of goes back, like, everyone's chasing something, and what you're chasing is more than what at least someone else is chasing. And there's this like kind of jealousy aspect, like you can't possibly be disappointed that happened because you have A, B, C, D. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but that was my dream. Like, it's all relative, right? But that's just like a really deep thought about, like, we don't always know what's going on, and the highlight reels kind of kill that. That's why one of my pillars I will stand on forever is just authenticity online. Like, I post online the good, the bad. I post raw feelings. I post happy feelings. I post it all because, like, that's who I am. And I really want to encourage more people to live with that authenticity, because then we can compare a lot less. Yeah. And realize that someone else isn't necessarily living the dream, because they might have something that's not their dream at all.
It may be your dream that they're living, but it's not their dream. Right. And that's the thing too, you know, and I struggle with that. You know, you are awesome at being authentic on Facebook and stuff. The two companies that I run are how do I want to phrase that? They're very what I'm showing and what personality and what I'm putting on is effective. Like, I run a complete online business, and then I take care of people's animals. And if they're only seeing this or that, and people don't look sometimes at the whole picture. You know, I ran both of these businesses through this challenging time. I never slacked. Well, I didn't slack on the dog business. The other one I kind of put on hold on purpose. But that doesn't show the person I am that I couldn't. And I think where I was going with this is, I feel like that's some of the reason why people aren't as authentic online, is because they're concerned of, well, if I put this out there, it may affect this, this, and this, which I do feel is true when you're, you know, have those businesses and stuff online. But my customer relationships with the people that I was real with, like, they were very empathetic. Like, they knew what was going on. Like, so I read that totally wrong. I thought, if they see that all this is going on and my house is being turned upside down, they're never going to buy a bag from me. They're not going to bring me their dog. Like, there's no way. None of that. I'm a real person just like they are. And I think that is so important to continue to remind ourselves. And I can tell you, I struggled with that greatly. I definitely, there was a book. You told me to read it, Faking Fine. Was it you that told me to read that one?
Not me.
No, yours was Present Over Perfect.
Yeah. But I should probably read that book.
So Faking Fine was something that came out of losing my dream. I realized how much I was faking fine, and the perception I was giving to people when things really weren't all okay.
Yeah.
It's a good book. I'll send it to you.
So this is interesting. So the dream that I'm thinking of tonight is, for those of you who don't know me or tuning in for the first time, I'm the co-founder of Kome, which is an app that gives parents free babysitting by allowing them to swap with their trusted circle of friends.
Their village.
Yeah, so it's like taking a traditional babysitting co-op that's been happening since the beginning of time. Yeah. People taking care of each other's kids, and it's putting it into an app and bringing it into modern technology. And I'd been working towards this dream for the last 4 years, and about 9 months ago, it kind of became clear that it just wasn't going to come to the fruition that I wanted. And a lot of people didn't really understand my disappointment, because they would be like, well, you got to do A, B, and C. Like, you lived New York. The life. You lived the dream. Literally, people would say you're living the dream. And I'm like, I'm living a piece of the dream. But that's the thing about dreams, is they're addicting too, right? Like, you want the next dream and the next dream and the next dream.
Yeah, definitely.
So we did amazing things with Kome. We did get to travel the country, and we lived in New York for 5 weeks, me and my co-founder, Audrey. We lived in New York for 5 weeks and drove back and forth every weekend to see our families. That brought a lot of judgment from friends, and, well, really not friends, but it brought a lot of judgment because we were leaving our families for 5 weeks.
To chase that dream.
Yeah, to chase that dream. But we did that thing. We fought those battles, and we just kept going. And we worked really hard for 4 years. And what it came down to is we just didn't get quite the traction that we needed in order to get the investments we needed. And of course, we're hindered because we're not in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So we don't have the relationships and the network that someone on the West Coast would have. We tried to build it, but we also didn't want to move our families out there. And so we would make trips to the West Coast, but that's just not the same as being there. So it just kind of came down to the fact of like, this dream is not going to happen. And it would not have been right of me to continue to spend other investors, other people's money on something that I couldn't get all the way there. And I had to accept that, and I had to let it go. I'm a faith-based person, and through the whole process, and all the way up at the end of January of 2019 is when we finally just said, hey, we're letting our baby go. We finally said, or I told myself, like, I've followed God every single step of the way. Like, God painted that whole picture, painted the whole pathway. And one of those steps included shutting my dream down.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I knew that God was like, it's time. Like, he had given me many not opportunities to, like, that I didn't seize, but, like, times where it's like, okay, I'll give you 3 more months so that you can have some time to process this and to kind of come to terms with the idea of this being over, but, like, it needs to be over. And so I followed him through that step. I let it go. A couple months later, we announced publicly that we let it go. And then within a week, we had offers coming in from competitors of ours saying that they wanted to buy the company. And then we were able to work through those legal things and a deal. And if you watch last week's episode, you know that we did have like a successful exit. We were able to sell our company to a company named WANA Family Network out in LA, so on the West Coast, where they have a fantastic network. And now she's going to run with it. And so my dream's not dead.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not working on it in the same capacity that I was before.
It's just different.
It's just different. And we have some great shirts going on here tonight. It's relevant, I promise. Danielle will explain hers in a minute. But they're from Human Unlimited. We'll post links tomorrow if you're interested in them. I work for Human Unlimited part-time right now. And we make shirts that are just inspirational. And a lot of them are talking about how to get through gritty times and how to heal from those times. And so this one says begin again. And you can see the words begin again are in the roots, and then the roots grow up into beautiful flowers. And so I'm literally right now at the point of like the soil. Where it's like I've got these roots.
Not yet sprouted.
Yeah, I've sprouted, but like now my sprouts became new roots. Like winter came, literally and figuratively. Winter came, and now like all the seeds fell into the ground, and they've made these great roots. I know I'm taking this analogy way too far.
You're taking this to the other hand.
So I've got these roots that I was an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur, but I grew a company. I built an app. I took nothing and I built it into something. I raised over $600,000 to do that. And then I had a successful exit, and like it's shipped off to someone else. And I'm not living the dream I thought I'd live. I'm still living a dream.
Yeah.
And now these roots, these things can build me into my next dream. And they can something that felt ugly, like literally even just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I felt ugly about it. It now feels beautiful. And I feel like whatever's going to come, whatever's next for me, is even more beautiful. And I just can't even imagine what it is.
Awesome. So my shirt says, I love the woman I am because I fought to be her. So, look, I'm like tearing up.
You're such a crier.
I am a crier on this show. What is this?
I only cry when I get angry. So if you make me mad, I'll cry.
I don't cry when I'm angry. I yell. I'm a yeller too.
Oh,
I'm a crier and a yeller. I got both extremes, guys.
Woo.
So the reason I love my shirt so much is because, you know, from the outside looking in, I was very young. I was very young when I graduated. I got into a very secure career very quickly. I just was busy. Like busy. I was promoted to an HR director at 24 years old, straight out of college, which was a position that nobody had. Like all of these things that I should be proud of and I should stand tall for, which, believe me, I'm grateful and very thankful that God led me those opportunities. I know that I would not have what I have, been where I have, or met the people. But I don't think that I knew that woman. Like, that woman just lived in survival mode and existed and always was trying to go up the ladder. I feel that, when this happened and everything broke apart and there was nothing I could do, and because you can't control another individual, something I have greatly learned. No matter how great a dinner or the house clean, just saying, like, that doesn't help. But I learned that all that ladder I was climbing, or those things that I was doing to impress other people, I wasn't impressed. Like, I wasn't enough for myself. And so I've learned over the last 6 months that I know what I'm capable of doing, but I don't have to do them all. Like, I can do what I want to do. And so I love that. And I do enjoy the person I am now. Like, I do enjoy, but more importantly, I have an 11-year-old daughter who watches everything I do. And my relationship with her has got better, and I have shown her to love who she is and to love the person she is. And that has to be, that whole big, I don't know what to call it. I always call them big quotes that says you can't love someone else until you truly love you. Like, I think that I was lacking that because I was wanting something, but I didn't have all the pieces.
Yeah.
I think that. So I love friendship too.
That's really deep. I think the idea of becoming is interesting. I think we're always becoming.
I agree.
And I think our dreams are always becoming. I have this little thing that I do every New Year's where I write myself a letter that I can't open until the next New Year's. And what I write in there is what my prediction is for the year.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
And
just
scary.
like I kind of am expecting this to happen or expecting this to happen. I kid you not, every year, the next year, my mind is blown. The things that there are things that happen during that year that I could have never even imagined. Like, I didn't know a person existed, or I didn't know an opportunity existed. Like, with Kome, the year we decided to build it, Audrey and I had our first meeting to discuss, like, should we make this into a business? Like, what are we doing here? Was on March 2nd. That January 1st, you think I was thinking about how I was going to, like, brand a company,
open an app, build an app?
No. Like, run a Kickstarter campaign and all of this stuff? Like, no way. Like, we have no idea what's coming. So we're always becoming. And I say that lightly, like it's super easy. Just remember, like, something great's around the corner. But it's hard because
it is really hard.
I literally, in January, when I was coming to terms, like, it was an ugly time for me going through, like, accepting and surrendering Kome over and realizing, like, I wasn't going to be able to make this dream come true. I remember just thinking, what if this was my greatest accomplishment and it's behind me and I'm only 34 years old?
Yeah. And that's, I'm thankful and not thankful that Amy, our timelines are pretty much the same. Like, I almost exact, even to like the 4 years. But I remember feeling those feelings too. I'm now 33 years old. Like, I can't have kids anymore. I'm getting too old, which is not true. I was told today by the neighbor who has a newborn who's 48.
Whoa.
No, thank you. We talked about that already in our last show. But what if I lost my chance? What if, like, I was too focused on other things and I lost this opportunity to get to, like, fully live out this dream, or this isn't fair because I don't have complete control of this and I can't even go chase it anymore. And you feel like hopeless.
Yeah.
And what's going to be next? And is there going to be a next? Like, when am I ever going to feel joy again? Am I ever going to feel excitement again? What even is that? And then you go out of that phase into did I waste my time?
Yes. I literally thought I just wasted 4 years of my life.
I remember looking in the mirror and going, I just wasted all of these years. Like, what did I do wrong? What decision did I make? What did I miss? that made me make this decision to chase this, and I can't get that time back. I can't get it back. And so you go through all these emotions, and the reason I say this is you're going to go through these emotions through, I feel, so very often people would compare just divorce, or even this, I've said it several times, what Amy went through, to grieving. I think that when you lose a dream, or when you have that traumatic, when it's something even big, like something big, you have that traumatic, you go through those steps of grieving. Like,
oh yeah.
And I could feel all of it, and they didn't go in order. Sometimes we'd stepped a couple steps back, and sometimes and then there were some days I felt all 7 steps in one day. So, but I said this a couple shows. It's okay to feel this. It's okay to feel this and allow you to feel them. Just as much as we're going to preach constantly that chase your dreams, chase your goals, be a strong entrepreneur, be a strong woman, be authentic. We're going to tell you it's okay to sit and wallow in your own sometimes.
Oh, speaking of wallow.
Yeah.
This is like a divine moment right here. I met with some ladies this week that do amazing things in downtown Akron. They're starting a company. I forget the letters, STLC Consulting. I don't know. I have to look it up.
Sorry.
I met with them, and they do, it's with Kat. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's going to be on your show soon. I just remembered the connection because she told me so. I met with them, and they're doing wonderful things in order to bring like mental health awareness and tools to companies by going like through HR and like doing training programs with their employees. Anyhow, she was telling me, I'm totally sharing her idea here, but I know that she would love it. It's totally cool. She said she had this vision of the word wallow. And she had this vision where the W just fell away. And if the W falls away, you're left with the word allow.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. You can either wallow in your lost dream or your broken heart or your disappointment, or you can allow it to change you, to help become you, to begin again. Like you can allow it to do something great.
And that's what and for me, like that's what I had to do. The moment when I finally was like, there's nothing else you can do. You have to let this dream go. You have to stop fighting because you're not getting what you thought you were going to get. Like, to put it real, I would have like stayed married forever just because I didn't want, even though like all of the things going on, like I just kept fighting. Like there was no way I was giving that dream up. It was going to work and I was going to make it work, and nobody was going to say anything different.
Like you're going to live on this street in one of 4 houses for the rest of your life.
That will happen.
Yeah.
But there was a day. There was an instant day. And I don't know if somebody spoke to me. I don't know what happened. But there was a day where I finally just was like, let it go. Allow yourself to be heartbroken, but know that life will still go on.
Yeah.
And at that moment that's when the tears really came. And that's when it was like, allow you to be yourself again. It is okay to still live in the beautiful home. It's okay to work the job. It's okay to do those things because this didn't work. Like I allowed myself to take those steps and continue. But then I also like allowed myself to accept that it was okay to go to counseling. Allowed myself to accept that it was okay to not be okay, to say no to people when I didn't feel like going to their cookout. When Danielle never said no to anyone. Like if there was an event, we squeezed 6 in a day. Like there was no not showing up, even if you were only like 15 minutes. It was okay to say no. It was okay to just be me. And that I feel is when I started to even see the pieces. Because for so long they were all broken, but I couldn't even see them. I started to see them and got the chance to start picking them up and re-putting them together in a different way.
Yeah, I am such a hopeless romantic.
Oh gosh.
I love nothing more than getting to a place where I can look back and see how all the pieces fit together. I mean, I could dork out over it for days. I'll take like the tiniest thing and be like, if I didn't meet that person 10 years ago in that driveway, this would all be different. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, you're going to drive yourself nuts. I'm like, I love it. There's a part in the Bible where it says, now we see in part, and when we get to heaven, we'll see in full. And I'm just telling you, people say, what would you ask Jesus? I'd be like, Jesus, show me the web. Show me the web.
She wants to see how everything's connected.
All the pieces. The person I passed on the street that I smiled at, and somehow that, like, changed their day, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I keep having all these divine moments tonight. I have to share another story. With Human Unlimited, I feel like I might get emotional. I might actually cry during this part. We'll see.
I got called the baby here.
I know, because I cried earlier today.
I didn't officially cry. I've just got a little close.
Human Unlimited has amazing customers because of the types of shirts we make. People will just like pour their hearts out to us about the things they're going through and how it's changing their life. And we have a membership, and as part of the membership process, when somebody cancels their membership, I send them a personal email and I say, hey, what caused you to cancel your membership? And I sent an email to a woman a week ago and said, hey, what caused you to cancel your membership? And she said, actually, I have stage 4 cancer and I just went into hospice. And I didn't want my family to have to shut down my subscriptions for me. And like, she said, I know where I'm going, so I'm okay with it. But I feel bad for those I'm leaving behind. And I just sat there for a little while, like, how do you even respond to that? And I responded and I was like, I know where I'm going one day too, so first of all, I can't wait to hug you when I meet you. And second of all, it sounds like you're leaving a wonderful legacy to your family. And we've been emailing for a week. And like these just incredible emails, and she's shared so much of her story with me, particularly today, and then literally just said like, hey, I have this vision. Like she wanted to do all these things to make mental health an everyday word, she called it. I want to make mental health an everyday word. And she actually said, she's like, will you carry on that mission for me? Like this complete stranger. I don't remember why I got started on this tangent. What were we talking about?
I don't remember now.
I don't know. But it was something about making an impact and just
you don't know who you're going to talk to or what.
Yes, you don't know who you're going to smile to on the street and change. That's where it started.
You could change their life.
Like you could literally change their life. And I love the web of things. And this woman literally, I don't know how yet because it just happened today. But like she literally changed my life today. I'll never forget her name. Like I'm going to think of her anytime I'm talking about mental health. Like she changed my life by putting out an email. She's sending me pictures. Like, I feel like I know her. It's a beautiful thing. I need to go visit her, but she does not live in Akron. So if anybody wants to pay for my flight, I'll go visit her. I'm just kidding, kind of. Maybe not really.
Amy won't be here next week.
So, yeah. Dreams. You just don't know where it's going to take you. And that's the other thing. I wouldn't have met this lady. I wouldn't have had this opportunity with Human Unlimited if Komei didn't shut down. Erin with Wana wouldn't have the opportunity to take Komei and continue to grow it on the West Coast if it didn't shut down. Like, we don't know what's coming. So much really good can come.
So many steps. And you feel like your world is over and there's no other side. But it could be just, like we always talk about being faith-based in this. And I, for years, had, taught, I teach a women's Bible study at Haven to Rest. And something I say quite often is it's God's plan, it's God's time, it's God's. Well, at that time, I didn't really care about God's plan or God's time because it wasn't my dream. My heart was there and I wanted to trust.
It's totally something that's easier said than done.
It is. But I was like, this was our plan. Like, this is what it says in the Bible. You stay married, you raise your family, this is what the plan is, God. How did this not go as planned? Mm-hmm. But now I sit 10 months later and I think, you know what? That was a piece of the plan. I can see a lot of the plan I still don't understand.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that too. Like, if you're watching and you're like, but I don't understand the plan. I did lose a terrible dream. I'm bruised. I'm branded by this thing. Yeah. Like, we hear you and we see you too. And like, I hope and pray that you'll be able to see that. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just don't see it. And like, it's a blessing to be able to be on the other side and understand why. But we also have to just kind of surrender and be okay with not understanding why, which I struggle with.
And I'm going to tell a story, and I think that Glenn is on, so he's going to get all teary-eyed now.
Glenn's her dad.
So my dad died, oh my gosh, Carter's 8 years ago. Next month will be 8 years. And growing up, he was an alcoholic. When he died, he died of alcoholism pretty much. And at that time, I remember being so angry. What is this plan? Like, now my kids grow up without a grandfather. Like, but then he wasn't really a grandfather for like years because of the alcohol. Like, I remember being so angry and so mad at that time and feeling like this great loss. Like, you know, you're supposed to get better and you're supposed to show everybody all this. But, you know, oh my gosh, so probably 4 years before he died, Glenn came into my mom's life, and he, like, I was like, I don't understand this. We don't want you. Like, I remember telling him that. He's going to chime in. But, like, now I look at it 8 years later, and I go, I still don't understand the plan. Like, this wasn't what was supposed to happen. I still don't get why, but it's okay. Like, he's a great grandfather. He's a great dad. He's a great all these things, but I still daily, you know, miss my dad and question, why did that have to happen? Why did that have to occur? And I bring this up because, not so that I cry on camera, because that may be, that isn't really called a dream, maybe losing somebody, but so many of you may have lost parents. And I feel like it could be compared in the same feeling, because I won't ever get it. I won't ever understand. But there was something more and something, I wouldn't say better, but something good that still happened. And you have to accept that and allow it to keep going.
You can wallow.
Yeah.
Or you can allow. Man, we've said in most of our podcasts that we're faith-based people, but I feel like it's coming out a little extra tonight. But there's a Bible verse, and forgive me.
What's the understanding? Terrible. Lean on your own understanding. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, I was thinking about what you did to intend to harm me. I'm not a Bible scholar in the way that I can recite scripture, but I know it's in Genesis in the 20s or 50s. Maybe it's 2050 or it's like 2050 or 5020. Okay, but what you did to harm me.
Somebody please quote the actual verse for us.
What you did to harm me, God will use for good.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, this is opening a whole can of worms. Maybe we have a whole podcast on this some other time. But, like, the idea that bad things happen, and what does that mean? Bad things aren't necessarily caused by God. But if bad things are happening because there's just sin and gross and ugly people in the world and disease and bad things, God can use them for good.
Yeah.
So true. I don't believe that God made your father an alcoholic so that you could meet Glenn. But as a byproduct of your dad suffering through alcoholism, you had the pleasure of meeting Glenn. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing.
I wonder if he's still on. He's not commenting. I could have sworn I would have got comments by now. He's crying in the corner.
Probably.
I agree. And I do
You're welcome, Glenn. You're welcome.
I do think that everything from deaths to dreams crashing to disappointments to dead-end roads or one-way streets, whatever you want to call them, you're going to go through the same feelings. There is going to be another side, though. No matter what, there is another side. There has to be another side. Like, there's no option. And so, you know, what I've gone through, I wouldn't wish on anyone, but I've met a great people because of it. I can tell you, I would have never done this podcast before. I would have never sat on the other side of this camera and spilled all my information.
Like, what got you to this place?
I realized how, so someone said to me, and I can't even remember who it was, probably like when stories kept getting out, someone looked at me and said, I can't believe someone would do that to you. You guys had such a beautiful life. Everything was perfect. You were living it. And I looked at them and went, really? Because the last 2 years have been miserable. Like, but that made me realize that so many people can put on this show. And I wasn't meaning to hide the bad. I just think it is 50-20.
It's 50-20. I knew that those numbers were involved. Sorry, someone commented it's Genesis 50-20 if you're wondering about that verse.
So, but somebody saying that to me, whoever said that to me, I wish you would tell me who it was because I don't remember who it was at that time. But somebody saying that to me made me realize that I was volunteering and serving at church. I was teaching people to be real women. I was teaching people to run a business. I work for 31, and I right now am leading a team of 106. And when I tell those women every single day, faith first, family second, and be you. Be you, be authentic. This was something that I was teaching everyone, but I had realized that I was still very guarded, and I was not doing that. And so, and it didn't change anything. Me being that guarded, me living and doing everything right, big home, pretty kids, great job, succeeding, me doing all the right things wasn't making me happy. And how many people, I felt trapped. There were days where I felt trapped in my own self. How many people out there were feeling the same thing?
Yeah.
And so I started talking, and I just started to tell my story and tell what was going on, not to get people to think about it and feel bad for me. That was the last thing I wanted. I wanted somebody to have the same story as me so I could feel included and not really include, feel a part of, feel an understanding, feel like what I was going through is okay. Then I realized how many people needed that same thing.
Yeah. So I think that I only came into this with one landing point of the idea that if you've lost your dream, there's still hope on the other side, and that dream probably is building you to the next dream.
Yeah.
But now, because of the way the conversation has taken itself,
Podcast twist.
Yeah, podcast twist. Surprise! The other landing point I'm seeing is don't assume about other people.
Yeah.
Because of what they're showing you on social media. Because even those of us who do try to live an authentic life, because I'm very authentic online. I couldn't in the last 6 months of Kome post can't get enough investors. No, that's for one, you're not allowed to say that online and talk about investors and how you need investors. Yeah, it's actually illegal. But so there's rules about that, and there's also just with business particularly, there's particular etiquette you have to follow. So there were a lot of things I couldn't say. So when the news came out about Kome ending, so many people, if you weren't in my circle of friends that I talked to face to face, were so surprised. The amount of emails we got was overwhelming. Just utter shock and awe. They're like, no, but you were living the dream. I'm like, yeah, but we weren't getting what we needed in order to get to.
And I think also another thing, and I'm not even saying I wasn't authentic and real with what was going on, but when you're chasing something that makes you happy and something that you want so bad, sometimes you aren't being authentic to yourself.
Oh.
That was my biggest issue. And that is where I've become the woman I am that I love so much. And that is how I've changed so much. It's not even that I wasn't authentic to I never was authentic to Danielle. It was hard for me to look in the mirror and go, you're right, this, and this, I do all wrong, and that affects this person. Or this isn't going how I plan it to go, I need to face that. It was always we put Band-Aids on things, and I think that we do that for everything. We'll throw a Band-Aid on it and think, you know what, give it some time. Time heals. Time gets things better.
Which it does.
It does.
For some things.
But being real with your own heart, being true to your own self and being authentic to your own self, I think it's a huge step for people.
And I think that even that has two sides to it, right? It's this idea you need to be authentic to yourself and kind of allow yourself to see truth and reality. There's also truth to focusing on the positives.
Definitely.
So especially, I would say, within a marriage, you were not wrong for focusing on the positives. That was absolutely the right and good thing to do, is to focus on the positives and to fight the good fight and run it till the very bitter, sweet, and good or bad.
Yeah.
And so, like,
and I should
I think
probably we keep talking about the whole like marriage thing with my dream. I don't even want to say that was right. It was just the family unit.
yeah,
Completely. Like, I don't want to.
it's like that white picket fence.
Being married to this person wasn't my dream. I mean, it was my dream, but
Right.
it was more of the family unit. Like,
yeah,
you know,
like having the white picket fence and that everything. Like,
I
that
do
you
have a
see
white
in-
picket fence.
True.
But I mean, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So when I'm talking, like, I don't want, it's, yes, it was my dream to marry this person, but really, it was just the idea of the family unit working out how I wanted. A mom, a dad, children, babies running all over the place, me cooking barefoot. Like, that was my dream, which I still do. But that was the actual dream that I'm like, that I was mourning, that I was losing.
Yeah.
And I was fighting so hard for no matter what.
Which is funny. And I also want to kind of put this point on that sometimes dreams change.
This is true.
Because I had that dream. I literally went to college and people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I would say a stay-at-home mom. And they're like, well, then why are you here? I'm like, well, I can't bank on that.
Yeah.
Can't just be like, gonna be a stay-at-home mom. I hope he finds me. No, like, I had to, like, have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to meet a guy that went to college and that was doing something.
That was why she
Not
was
doing
college.
That sounded rude because I actually think there's a lot of great things you can do even if you don't go to college. Just disclaimer there. But so that was what I did. And that was my plan and that was my dream. I was a stay-at-home mom for 1 year and I went bonkers, partly because of postpartum depression and partly because I was like, oh, this actually isn't what I was built to
you
do
don't
day
know.
in and day out. I was actually built to build businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that then. And so as we learn about ourselves, our dreams change and that's okay. And so one of the points I was thinking about coming into tonight was that it's not always giving up. Sometimes it's just realizing something new or something being taken away that you literally can't do anything about, or waking up and just realizing that you want something else, and that's okay.
Yeah. And you bring up waking up, like, when I was an HR director, like, I had a salary job. I had amazing benefits. Like, I had what most people strive for. And one day, I remember I woke up that day and was like, this is not what I want. My mother almost died because I had went through, like, I have a master's and 2 bachelor's degrees and an associate's, and we
Sorry,
paid for
Danielle's mom.
Yeah, so
we're doing a podcast now.
So we're not getting paid for. But I mean, like, I had this great thing that I went to college for and is what I wanted and I thought would get me, and I was like, nope, I don't want this. And I literally, like, walked away. And I watched kids and dogs. Like, I had a house full for 3 years after that. I don't know if Ruth's on, she had 5 kids. I watched her kids. I played with dogs, and that's what I did. And I couldn't have been happier.
I love it.
So was that what I thought I wanted in college? No. In college, I didn't even want kids. I wanted to be a flight attendant and travel the states and never have children. I wanted to be married because I wanted to be a wife. But I was going to, like, visit the world.
I wanted all the children in college, and now 2 was just fine.
2 is okay.
Anyways, we're so glad that you guys tuned in tonight. Thank you for joining. Thanks for those who are listening back later.
Yeah.
We look forward to carrying on this conversation. You can always message us on Facebook or Instagram, and we will reply. And we would love to just continue to have conversations with you, whether that be on a public thread or whether that be in a private message.
And we come here and we share our stories, not because we're still wallowing. We're allowing ourselves to share these stories because we hope that we relate. Something you can relate to will be in our story. Something that brings you comfort, something that allows you to allow yourself to do whatever it is you want to do, to feel however it is that you need to feel. And so that's why we come. It's not to come here and just pour out all of our guts and tell you everything. Like
That's just a byproduct.
Yeah. We know that each and every one of you are struggling with something or have struggled with something, and know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.